Alright, so this piece of Peridot I picked up in Tucson earlier this year, and I'm going to use this one for our special order that BOPIE has. Weighs in at 17 carats, and like I said, I got it at Tucson earlier this year from Thomas S. Let's see how it looks in refractol. So this is the original refractol, and it's no longer made. It has about the same refractive index as quartz. Not the same refractive index as Peridot, but it'll be close enough. And what it'll do is kind of help make the surface of the stone, blend in with the surface of the stone and make it invisible. And then we can see if there's any fractures or any inclusions or those lily pads or anything else inside this Peridot. So there are a couple of, there's a fracture in there. I don't see any lily pads, but there are some fractures near the surface. Okay, it looks like only at the surface there's fractures, or a little below the surface, and I think I can cut the design and work around those facets. Right now the fractures, which are kind of right now in the bottom part. So I think I'll be okay. This design, the standard oblong step cut with cut corners, I added it to my collection of gem fastening diagrams a while back. And I'm not sure exactly where on the internet I found this design. I believe it was from one of the fastening guild or club websites which I belong to. Many of the fastening guilds have competitions, and each year they post some gem cutting diagrams for that year's competition. The designs don't remain on their websites forever. As new designs are posted for the next year's competition, the old designs are removed from the web. So you have to regularly search these sites and download the gem cutting diagrams when you find them. I believe this design came from the Australian Fasteners Guild website as a package of designs for their 2019 gem cutting competition, but I'm just not certain. There was no creator associated with this design, probably because this is a standard gem fastening design which has been around for many, many years, and like the standard round brilliant design, the creator of this design has been lost over the decades, or maybe centuries. I've gone over all the facets and preformed our Peridot, and I used a 600 grit topper just because it was already about the right size I needed. I didn't have to get rid of a lot of rough, so I still have to bring the top down. As you see, there's I haven't quite gotten rid of this problem area here, so I'll bring the top down, the bottom, this is the pavilion. Bring the bottom down a little bit and to get rid of that. And I still have to bring in the sides, all four sides of this stone to get it exactly the right measurements that I need. I'm not quite there yet, but I'll get right where I need to be with the next lap that I use, and that's going to be the 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. I'm going to go around and get the girdle just where I need it, set the length and width, and then come back and work on the pavilion to bring that down, get rid of that little problem area there. Okay, I pre-polished the bottom half of the pavilion of our Peridot, and I used a 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap, pre-polished it right up. So now I'm ready to go to polish. So I used the 600 grit and then the 3000 grit, and ready to go to polish. Okay, I'm ready to start polishing on our bottom half of our Peridot. And so I reviewed some notes from what other cutters use to polish Peridot, and I found some old notes by the late Jeff Graham. And what he said he polished it with was a tin lap with aluminum oxide, and instead of water he used a few drips of vinegar, and he said that worked. So I've got some vinegar, I've got my tin lap. Now I don't know if at when Jeff had written that, if the bat sticks had existed or not from Gear Loose, but I'm going to use my aluminum oxide bat stick, which is kind of like a crayon. It has aluminum oxide mixture in it, and I'll just put that on my tin lap and then use a couple of drops of vinegar to see how that works. Now this is what a unused bat stick looks like. This is zirconium oxide, and so you can see I've used quite a bit of my aluminum oxide. But let's give this a try and see if vinegar, aluminum oxide on a tin lap polishes Peridot. Okay, so I used vinegar on the first facet, and this second one is 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. So it polished up the facet. Is it better than water? I don't know. So, and I had switched to kind of a light and mild rice vinegar, mainly because that's all I had in BOPIE'S pantry. So I've tried the balsamic vinegar, which may have been too thick. I've tried a light vinegar. I dropped it on because, you know, they had a drop or two. I used a spray bottle for this one, and I'm not seeing any magic bullet. Now I did use bat sticks, and Jeff's writings may have been before bat sticks, and bat sticks are not just aluminum oxide, but it's aluminum oxide in some kind of paste, and maybe the paste interacts with the vinegar, or some other technique, too slow, too fast, too much pressure, too little pressure, I don't know. But my first two attempts at using aluminum oxide with vinegar to polish Peridot, okay, yeah, sure, it polishes it, but I didn't notice any difference between it polishing and water. In fact, water I think is better. It's worked better in my case. So I guess the jury's still out. I'll talk to a couple of other facetors if I ever find one that uses vinegar. Let me know what you think and what your technique is, what I'm doing wrong. It may be a magic bullet. Maybe someday I'll have that one facet of Peridot that's just not polishing, and I'll try vinegar with my aluminum oxide, and it'll work great, and that'll be super. But for now, I'd say I'll use water. Okay, I finished polishing the bottom half or the pavilion of our Peridot with a tin lap, aluminum oxide bat stick, and a slow drip of water, polished up fine. So now I'll transfer the stone and cut and polish the upper half, or the crown. Okay, I pre-polished the upper half of our Peridot with 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. So I went and started with a 600 grit. I didn't use a topper, I used a 600 grit full steel lap, not a topper. And then I went to the 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. And now I'm going to go to polish. Okay, I finished polishing the upper half or crown of our Peridot with, I used zirconium oxide bat stick. First time I've used that, and a tin lap. So the zirconium oxide worked great, didn't have any issues. So I don't know that it's better than aluminum oxide, but nice to know it's, I have a different option if I need it. And these are the bat stick zirconium oxide by Gear Loose with just a small drip of water. Okay, I've polished the table of our Peridot. I used, again, zirconium oxide bat stick on a tin lap, and it polished right up. I'm not sure which works better, aluminum oxide or zirconium oxide. This is the first time I've used zirconium oxide, but I'll give that a try in the future too. So now I'll soak the stone in acetone, weigh it, measure it, and send it up to BOPIE. Today I cut a piece of beautifully colored Pakistani Peridot into an emerald or rectangle shaped gemstone measuring 11 by 9 millimeters, so it would perfectly fit into a piece of jewelry that BOPIE and the client have picked out. I tested out a technique used back in the day where a few drops of straight vinegar are put onto a tin lap with aluminum oxide. It's supposed to be the magic bullet for polishing peridot. However, I didn't see any real noteworthy results. Maybe I could have tried a different vinegar, or maybe I should have used aluminum oxide powder instead of a bat stick. More pressure, less pressure, who knows? But I would rate this attempt of using vinegar as undetermined. For me, a slow water drip on a tin lap with aluminum oxide bat stick worked as good as vinegar, better actually, and it's easier to use. So I'll save this technique for the future when I encounter that one peridot facet that just doesn't want to polish. Maybe this vinegar technique will save the day. If any of you use vinegar, please let me know in the comments what I might have been doing wrong or how it works out for you. When I was polishing the crown and the table of this gemstone, I also experimented a little bit. This time I used Gearloose's zirconium oxide bat stick on my tin lap instead of the aluminum oxide. And the zirconium oxide polished this peridot right up. So I can say that both aluminum oxide and zirconium oxide seem to work great for polishing peridot. I'm not sure which one's better. I need further testing and see which other gemstones zirconium oxide works for. Please let me know in the comments what you think of this design and of the final gemstone. And if you have cut this design yourself or in any gem material, please drop me a note on Facebook and let me know how it turned out for you. Photos are always welcome. And as always, happy fasting, everyone.